What's up? My name is Patricia, also known as Godzdesign here on YouTube, and welcome to my channel. So today I'm gonna do my first ever story time. I know it's like really popular right now. And I'm like, why don't I do one of these? And I've never actually shared this story with you guys. Of course, the heater would turn on as soon as I start recording. Why? Okay. So I've actually never shared this story with you guys, and for whatever reason, I felt like I did at some point. But more recent, like a few weeks ago, I actually went out to lunch with one of my subscribers, and while we were on the train, like heading back, I start telling her the story, and she's like, "You should get on YouTube and tell us this story." So anyway, so I'm gonna tell you guys about the time that I passed out at work. This was actually my first day on the floor on the job. I was a new nurse, new grad, was so excited. For the first few weeks or months or a year, depending on like the state, the specialty, you have to do what's called like a preceptorship, where you have a nurse that kind of like shows you the ropes, like, you know, make sure, like, hones your skills and, you know, shares with you what the policies are at the hospital and different things that you have to do, how to go about, you know, discharges, admissions. He basically, you know, shares with you how to be a nurse, more specifically on that particular unit. But what had happened was, it was actually a really hard time in my life. At that time in my life, I just picked up all my things and I moved down to Alabama, and basically on faith that I would get the job, I moved all my things just to go down for the interview, end up getting the job. And I actually had nowhere to stay. I had nowhere to live at that point in time. And so I've talked about this, you know, on my vlog channel. And so I was just kind of like, just trying to survive. You know, I really had no money. I just recently graduated, and you know, it was a really tough time. And so I was like bouncing from couch to couch, and at times I would sleep in my car. Like, I did whatever I could do to keep my head above water. I also wasn't really taking good care of like myself, my body, meaning I wasn't like drinking a whole lot of water. I wasn't, you know, like I normally do. I wasn't taking my vitamins every day like I normally do. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't eating the same, not that I wasn't eating enough, because I always had enough to eat, but I wasn't eating the way I eat now, which is, you know, relatively healthy. I think it just kind of all sort of caught up with me. Okay, so I'm here minding my own business, and I was in the a patient's room, and I'll never forget where it was on the unit. I will never forget what room it was, and I was standing in the room watching. Usually on the very first day, you just kind of observe your preceptor. So I was just observing my preceptor give meds, and I started to feel really ill. I wasn't feeling good that day anyway, but I started to feel really ill, and I was starting to feel really hot, really lightheaded. And so I remember starting to walk away or walk out of the room because I really felt like I needed to sit down. I remember turning to walk out, and then after that, I just don't have any memory. The next thing I remember is seeing like a light like shining, and I'm like, oh God, did I die? Like, is that you, Jesus? But then I start to hear like my name, like Patricia, and then the light starts like, it's not as bright anymore, and then I see my preceptor's face, and I'm like, oh crap. And I look around and I'm on the floor, and then I start to feel some tightness on my arm, and it's actually the blood pressure cuff. It keeps saying error. And I'm like, what? I'm like, so I start to get up, and my preceptor pushes me back, and she's like, girl, you are not going anywhere. We can't even get a reading on you. And I'm like, but I'm fine though. And then so finally, after like the second or third try, this is after I've been awake now, because before then, I don't know what happened before then, but finally, after the second or third try, it gets a reading of 68/35. That was my blood pressure, all right? And y'all who in the medical field, even if you're not in the medical field, you know, y'all, that is not good. So I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh my goodness. So then I felt like a prick on my finger. They're taking my blood sugar. They had sent, they called what was called a rapid response on me. Emergency department personnel that came to the room that were around me, and I hear the patient like flipping out. Like, it was just, guys, it was a hot mess.com. I'm fine, I promise you guys, I'm fine. Like, just let me get up and we're gonna continue. And they're like, no, you are not getting up. I'm not feeling anything at this point, except for I do feel like my body just kind of like got hit by a bus. My preceptor starts pointing at my face and I'm like, what? Like, what? I got something in my nose? She's like, no, like on your way down, she had to inform me because I did not know. On your way down, you actually slammed your head. Like, okay, in the patient, this was a private room, a private patient room. So as soon as you walk in, there's a bathroom on the right. Apparently on my way out, the bathroom door was open. When I passed out, I hit the bathroom door. And if any of you guys have been in a hospital, the doors are extremely heavy. So I hit the bathroom door on my way down. I hit my face on it and busted, guys. I busted my lip open. I mean, blood. When I tell you, and I didn't even notice like that there was like blood because I was so like embarrassed. I was just like, you know, it's my first day. Like, how do I pass out? How do you pass out on your first day? I was so embarrassed. I had not even realized I had blood all over my face. She's like, yeah, you busted like your whole mouth open. So I immediately start feeling for my teeth. Did I lose any teeth in the process? And thank God I hadn't lost any teeth. I hadn't even like chipped any of them. So I was just like thankful for that. But I still didn't see how badly I had messed up my face. And so next thing you know, they got me on a stretcher and start wheeling me down to the ER. Get down to the ER, they start an IV on me. They're like, girl, you are extremely dehydrated. They start giving me boluses of fluid, bag after bag after bag. And at this point, it's when my face starts hurting because, and I think with all the adrenaline, I really couldn't feel the pain. It wasn't until after that I really started to feel the pain in my face. It wasn't until they actually got me to a room in the emergency room that I saw in the mirror what my face looked like. And when I tell you guys, it was so disturbing. It's so funny because when you see these things on like other people, you know, but to see it on your own face, it's like, oh my gosh. So basically I had split my lip open, like my whole, can y'all see it? I don't know, it's right here, guys. I have a scar right here. Anyway, I split my lip open. So it's like when I smiled, it's like, oh God. It was a really scary time for me. And it all sort of hit me at once. And I just started crying. And then the salt water from my tears started going on my lip and it started to burn. All the time I asked the nurse for like a washcloth so that I can like, you know, take all the blood from around my lips. So I could really sort of take the time to assess what my lip looked like. Anyway, they decided to admit me to observation. My blood pressure finally came up, but they weren't comfortable with how low my blood pressure was. Now my blood pressure is relatively normal, but it still was on the low end. So I was like 80s and 90s systolically. And so they weren't really comfortable until I got above 100 and stayed above 100. So they decided to keep me overnight. And when I tell you that was like some of the best sleep I ever got. I was checking my blood pressure, I think every hour. So every time my blood pressure dropped, it would make this huge sound. But even so, like I slept so well. So my friend that I was living with at the time came to the hospital to see me, and my sister, who was in college, also left the dorm when she could in the morning to come and see me as well. And my preceptor came down to see me, make sure that I was okay as well. And what they ended up having to do is I ended up having to get 6 stitches in my lip. So it started about up here to about right there. So I had to get 6 stitches. I call it my gangsta scar because it really looks like, I either got into a fight or whatever. And so anyway, I still have pictures. I don't have pictures of me in the stitches anymore. I used to. I don't know what happened to them. They're probably in like one of my old phones or something. 3 of the stitches were like regular stitches which had to be removed, and then the 3 on the bottom were the the stitches that dissolve on the bottom. So I didn't actually have to take those out, but the 3 ones on the top had to be removed. Since I'm a nurse, the ED doctor told me that I didn't need to come back or go to my primary care physician to actually take out the stitches, but I could take it out myself. So they gave me a suture removal kit, and I was able to remove the stitches, but I actually had to go back to work. They told me to take a day off and then return to work the day after that, and so I did, and I literally had to go to work with the stitches in my face. Like, it wasn't bad enough to actually be embarrassed, the fact that I passed out on my first day, but I actually had to go back with the evidence of the incident all over my face. And my mom was flipping out. Like, my mom was like calling me every hour at the job. I'm like, Mom, you can't do this. It's embarrassing. Like, stop. But she was really concerned about me, and rightly so. You guys know there's always a lesson in the tale, right? It really was a motivator for me to get out of the situation that I was in, and also to really start to take care of myself, even when my resources were low, even when it looked like I didn't have too many people on my side. I still had to sort of push through. And I really, like, at this point, I really turned to God, like, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you through this, because I can't do this by myself. That happened in October, and by December I was in my own place. And I didn't have a lot. I didn't have any furniture. I didn't have a bed for a long time, but at least I had my own place to stay. I was still on the pantry line. I couldn't even afford Walmart at that period of time. I even had friends that had food stamps that were helping me. I remember one of my friends, her name is Abby, she gave me like a whole bunch of seasoning, like, because at that point I was making soup, because that was like the easiest thing that I could make, the cheapest thing I could make that could extend me for a long period of time. So one day I'd make soup and it would last me the whole week. And what she was giving me like seasoning and stuff, and she doesn't even know how much that helped me. She gave me like cumin and rosemary and pepper and seasonal and garlic salt. I went to go visit her one day, and she was just kind of like, I remember what it was like starting out, and there's things that you don't even realize that you need. So she ended up giving me like 6 or 7 like bottles of seasoning and powdered milk and all sorts of other things that really helped me. So even in the difficult time, I realized that I was super, super, super blessed. And I've shared a little bit of this testimony on my vlog channel before, and it really just made me realize how powerful God is, and how he looks out for us. Literally, as I was starting to stack up money, or over time, of course, I was able to pay my bills and furnish my apartment. But in the beginning, those first, I want to say 6 months, it was really, really, really rough for me. And God was just coming through. Like, someone just decided to give me a bed, just like, oh, do you have like a mattress or something? I know you just moved into a new apartment. Do you have a mattress yet? And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, she gave me a mattress, a bed. Prior to that, I was sleeping on the floor with a fleece blanket, and I didn't have to pay a dime for it. She didn't take a dime from me. And so I'm just so thankful that even in difficult times, God cares and he provides for us. And if you just take the moment to really look over, I know you will find 2 or 3 things. It's going to be more than that, but at least 2 or 3 things that you can seriously be grateful for, and seriously think back and think, like, that right there was nothing but God. So that was the story of how I passed out at work. Most of the time, people don't realize it until I decide to tell the story or decide to point it out. Some people do, and will ask me, like, where did that come from? And I take the opportunity to tell everyone who asks about it, not only the story that I just told you, but also the part of how much God was there for me. This just came to me, so I'm just gonna share it. Y'all remember Jacob in the Bible? I talked about him before. Jacob is another one I like to talk about, apparently. And he's the one that had the twin Esau. He stole Esau's birthright and had to end up running away. Anyway, later in life, his brother was still looking for him, like, yo, I'm gonna kill you for what you stole from me, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so he ends up in the wilderness, running from his brother Esau, and he ends up having an encounter with God, a interaction or a fight basically with an angel, with divinity. And what ended up happening was, at the end of the struggle, angel's like, bruh, let go of me. Like, why are you still on me? Like, I'm done. I'm over you. And Jacob's like, I'm not letting you go until you bless me. And at the end of this interaction, Jacob actually ends up having a limp, and he has it for the rest of his life. But the limp is a symbol of the interaction that he had with God. And this scar is a symbol of the interaction that I had with God, and how he showed me how merciful he is, and how much of a provider he is, and just how faithful he is. So this is my scar, and this is a symbol of God's goodness to me. So that's the story that I want to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe I'll do more of these. This was kind of fun. Anyway, I really enjoyed sharing this story with you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I mean, how about we make it into testimony time? Can y'all testify of God's goodness and something that he did for you, something how he just showed up in your life at a, you know, in your darkest hour? Let us know down in the comment section. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys and praising God with you. So yeah, guys, as always, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Periscope, and on my vlog channel. All the links will be down below. I'll be looking forward to see you guys over there as well in between videos over here. I love you guys so much. I really do, and I hope you guys are well and in good spirits, and I'll see you guys very soon with another video. And as always, God bless.